call me Mystic Mike because I predict these things.
Vitor PEtrino takes on Austen Lane this Saturday on the main card of UFC Fight Night Nashville, Tennessee. And this is a weird one. You know, Vitor PEtrino had a lot of success at 205, coming in off of a loss, though, to Dustin Jacoby and a loss to Anthony Smith. Can't excuse that Anthony Smith lost. Threw your head into a guillotine choke. I can't excuse the loss to Dustin Jacoby because Dustin Jacoby's a stud on the feet. Was having a lot of success in that fight. It was very 50-50 before he got finished by knockout. But outside of that, you know, had 4 wins in the UFC, not including his Dana White's Contender Series win. Got some submissions, decisions, and some knockouts. So it's a well-rounded guy making the move up to heavyweight, which I can understand. You know, heavyweight's not as skilled as 205. It's not as dense with talent. And Vitor PEtrino is just a monster. Or like he's huge for 205 pounds. He was noticeably bigger than Dustin Jacoby in that last fight. So he shows here the last weigh-in obviously was 205 pounds, but I mean he probably walks around at 245 pounds before making that cut to light heavyweight. And so I imagine he's going to come into this fight at about 245, 250. Not the tallest guy, 6'2" with a 77.5-inch reach, and taking on somebody like Austen Lane, who's 6'6" with an 80-inch reach. So he's going to be 4 inches taller and have a 3.5-inch reach advantage. He's 37 years old, which is, you know, fine at heavyweight. Guys compete at heavyweight well into their 40s. But Vitor PEtrino, 27, he's going to be 10 years younger, not even in his prime yet. And I think Vitor PEtrino gets this one done. You know, Austen Lane, he was putting a lot of volume out there against Mario Pinto, was surprising me, actually. I think he dropped him in the first round, but he's very aggressive and leaves openings. He's a big dude, he's powerful, but he's been KO'd several times. He's just not the I just don't think he's the most skilled guy at heavyweight. Like, obviously he's athletic. I think he's a former pro football player, maybe has power, can put you out, but you know, lost to Justin Tafa, lost to Hunata Deniz, lost to both those guys by knockout, beat Rebeles to Spain just by grappling him. Rebeles to Spain should have never been in the UFC. And then recently coming off of a knockout to Mario Pinto. Before those wins, you know, had some knockouts and some good performances on the regional scene against some guys that aren't the best, but then also has, you know, he's got three losses on the regional scene by knockout, ground and pound. Lost to Greg Hardy within 60 seconds back in the day, if that tells you anything. So I'm going to go Vitor PEtrino. He's the more skilled guy. He's more technical on the feet, has the better ground game, has more finishing potential. I just think he's the all-around better athlete, younger, more technical, more talented, fought the better guys, has the better experience, and I think he's going to get Austen Lane out of there. I think he's going to attack the legs, beat up the legs, and just put it on him, put tons of volume on Austen Lane on the feet, and have that lighter man skill in this one. You know, Austen Lane, I think he's used to fighting a bunch of lumbering, you know, bigger heavyweight guys who don't have a lot of cardio, don't have a lot of footwork, good movement, and Vitor PEtrino is essentially going to be the same fighter he was at 205, just moving up to heavyweight, fighting less skilled guys who don't move as well, maybe hit a little bit harder, but less skillful, less cardio. I think Vitor PEtrino is going to have a very successful run at heavyweight. He's going to look much better than Ryan Spann did moving up to heavyweight, and I think Vitor PEtrino gets Austen Lane out of there within the distance. Haven't looked at the odds on these fights, but I can only imagine that Vitor PEtrino is a huge favorite. Minus 650. That sounds about right. I would go with a Vitor PEtrino KO round 1 or round 2. But definitely think that he gets Austen Lane out of there, who's shown to be pretty chinny, and fighting against guys that I think aren't as good or well-rounded as Vitor PEtrino. And if Justin Tafa is getting you out of there in less than 90 seconds, I think Vitor PEtrino can get you out of there as well. So I'm going to go with Vitor PEtrino to get this one done by knockout. Thanks.